As long as I can remember, I've always had an interest in video games. One of my first memories related to gaming is playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Manhattan Project. Although I didn't really play the NES much, because around that time I started playing video games, I showed enough interest to receive a Nintendo 64 for Christmas. And man, did I have some bangers to start with. Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Pokemon Stadium, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Kirby 64, and 180 Snowboarding, aka that one game with the really underrated OST that just so happens to be used in this video until this point. Around the time I got my N64, I was allowed to use my mom's PlayStation 2. And around that time, my uncle let me use his copy of Crash Bandicoot 3. And I'll never forget my mom walking into a store, and as I sat there and waited for her, she came back and handed me a shiny case. No idea what it said because I couldn't read at the time, but there was Donald Duck on it and some dude with funky hair, so that seemed cool. But here's the thing, I could go on about random game consoles I played and talk about all my favorite games if you give me the time and day. And I know, you may wonder, what does this have to do with the video title? Well, let me put it this way. I think the last time I felt genuinely happy with a game, until it died, was Mario Maker 1. This game fucks, but Nintendo shutting down Miiverse kinda killed it, and it was definitely the nail in the coffin for the Wii U. And the 3DS wasn't doing so hot either around that time, with Puzzle Swap and Badge Arcade gone, and title releases slowly slowing down. But I was sure Nintendo had a plan. Maybe they were reworking these cool little apps and other charming features into the Switch, and perhaps many different games at launch. Oh, I see how it is. Don't get me wrong, the Switch is a great console with many great titles, but the personality is gone. And not only that, but most games dropped nowadays are rushed out unfinished $70 titles that may or may not get free updates later on. And I swear every Pokemon game got worse after Gen 5. The personality of most consoles are long gone. Nowadays, consoles will have a more simple style, and more games are more overly realistic, to the point of being unfun. Or just another open world game with nothing to do in it. Long gone are the days where AAA games were made with care. It's nothing more than corporations just trying to shit out another game every year. You know, to be honest, it's not just the games themselves, but also being an adult. Things aren't the same as they used to be. Got more responsibilities nowadays. And honestly, despite still loving video games a lot, I just find them a bit of a time waster, which can be good, but also a bad thing. Basically, there are many factors on why I find it hard to like video games nowadays. They're just not the same. Does that make me feel old? A little, but honestly, I would take old games over any games that required internet to even be played. I think my most recent game that I enjoyed was Splatoon 3, but even then, that's mostly just because I can play a single match and then put it away. A few years from now, I'll probably never play it, and it'll just sit on my shelf. When the next Nintendo console comes out, I'll cave and get it, even if it just collects dust on my shelf. I enjoy my Mario, Zeldas, and Kirby's from time to time, but the moment Nintendo stops selling physical games, I'm done. Honestly, not a fan of owning games unless they're a physical copy, especially since all it takes is one person to hack your account and then you lose everything. Oh, and if you haven't noticed yet, when it comes to modern day consoles, I've only mentioned the Switch, and not the PS5 or Xbox whatever. But part of that reason is because those consoles are nothing but glorified Blu-ray players. But you know for a fact my Blu-ray player must be up to date, damn it. But when it comes to game exclusivity, it's pretty much dead outside of Nintendo. And some other franchises nowadays are just completely dead. Or have a very, very sad decline, looking at you, Battlefield. But where does that bring us? I don't know. This video wasn't really made with a structure in mind. All I do know is that gaming just doesn't feel the same nowadays. And games as a service is partly to blame for that, in my opinion. But out of curiosity, I ask the viewers, what was the last game you bought? And also, what was the last game you bought that you'd consider putting in your top, let's say, 20? That seems like a fair number to me. Let me know what you think of this style of video. I like doing something like this. It's slightly scripted and slightly rambling, but it's fun to pass the time. Jesus Christ, I gotta figure out how to end videos. Oh my god. Ugh. One of my first memories related to video games is playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Why is that so hard for me to pronounce? One of my favorite... What am I doing?